Welcome back, everybody. It seems like we just got through doing this. Seems like we just played North Carolina State, right? Always good to be back in the fold again, and season beginning to start and get this thing tipped off on Sunday. And really just want to start with where we were, I think, last spring, and sort of rewind for a minute and talk about our last game, obviously against Stanford, and how it was, I would say, a bit of a disappointment for us, just because from a goal perspective, we expected to go back to the Elite Eight, and I really thought that once I looked back at film and sort of reflected back on the year, there were a couple of things that came to my mind. First of all, I thought we hit a hot team. I thought Stanford really, when we played them, was playing the best basketball of their year, and they had some older players, some mature players that really just didn't allow them to lose on that day. And then the second thing I thought about was, and this was more towards where do we go from there, was when you reflect upon the whole year, I'm always in the thought process that you get what you earn. And it was one of those teams that, I mean, all of you rode on that roller coaster with us, where we started really poorly, and then we went on a 19-game win streak, and then we didn't sustain like we needed to. We got beat out of the Big 12 tournament unexpectedly, or I would say again by a hot team that wanted to win worse than we did. So when I reflected back on it, I just thought, okay, sometimes you just get what you deserve, and it doesn't mean that we didn't work hard and we didn't want to win, but I'm not sure that we were on a plane that was headed in the right direction from the beginning, and I'm not sure that we were a team that earned the right to beat a team like Stanford in the way that they were playing. So I think it was a lesson learned on how to handle the season. As we went into spring workouts, I saw a different group as far as attention to what we were doing in the spring, as far as attention to what we were doing in the summer. I thought they were in the gym a lot more than they had been the summer before, and I thought our leadership throughout the summer was absolutely terrific. And to start with anything regarding personnel, I would have to start with our senior class. Ariel and Brooke, I think most people that play against us are buying their graduation presents right now, because that's just how good they've been in their careers here and how much I appreciate what they've put into our program. And then the third senior in Adrienne Caron Goudreau, has been a welcome addition, but more importantly, I think she's in a real comfort right now with our team and our program. She's one of those that I wish we had more than one more year, but she has also settled into a leadership role, more importantly just in how she plays the game and how she handles her business. So our leadership has been terrific with our senior class. Probably what's the difference in our team right now is the maturation of our sophomores and juniors. In particular, our junior class is I guess I could say the children are finally growing up. And LaShawn Higgs, who I'll get into a little bit more in a few minutes, but she, Jordan Hosey, Mide, Callie, have all matured enormously in the way that they handle their business, the way they practice every day, the way they approach what they do. So it's made us a more mature team. And then you have Jada and Shug, who the sophomores are always kind of iffy. What did they learn their freshman year? Have they grown up a little bit? Do they get what we're doing? And I would say that that's a big yes also. So it's made for a more mature team, a team that, the immaturity is with your freshmen, and that's where it should be. And every once in a while you have a sophomore that has an immature day, but I appreciate how they're approaching everything. I definitely think this team is a work in progress. I did not mention Tatari White. She is also in that junior class and brings a load of maturity age-wise and experience-wise. And she was a transfer from South Carolina. And, I think everybody could see Sunday that she'll make an immediate impact on our team. But, again, she lends maturity to our team. So in preparation for the season, We had a couple of scrimmages, and I mean, until you go against someone else and you get in that scrimmage atmosphere, I guess as a coach you don't really think about lineups, you don't really think about things. And a couple of weeks ago we had a scrimmage, and we get in a timeout, and I just look at the 5 that are in the timeout, and I'm like, this is a completely different front court. And it didn't hit me until then that this is inexperience in the front court. Even though they're older, more mature players, none of them started for the most part of the year last year, or at all. Some of them didn't even have a uniform on. So it's allowed me to take a step back and say, okay, we're a work in progress, and I'm not sure we're going to be where we need to be right now, because those guys need to get their feet wet. You have a player like Alameda that didn't get any playing time, yet she's earned some playing time now. But then when she gets in the games, you see that she's got to get used to the lights and get comfortable, as Jatari does. So we're inexperienced in some spots, but from a maturity standpoint, they'll learn really quickly because they're mature people and mature players. So I'm super excited about what I think we will be. We're better, I think, than we were at this point last year. Again, maybe a little bit more mature. Leadership's really good. We're deeper than I think we've ever been, in particular at the guard position. If everybody stays healthy, this is a team that I think will be enjoyable to watch, because I think we can get out in the open floor. I think we can press and do some things defensively that we've not really, from a depth perspective, ever been able to do, which will hopefully enable us to play up tempo and keep that tempo at a high rate. So I'm excited. Looking forward to Sunday, playing a Stetson team that I believe 26-7 maybe last year and 13-1 in league play. I think that they should have been an NCAA tournament team, but just was unfortunate enough to be in a league that was a one-bid league and got beat in their conference tournament. Otherwise, we would be seeing an NCAA tournament team on Sunday, which I'm looking forward to. I think we need some tests. We need some lessons and film, lots of those things that help you learn quickly.
When you first got here, I remember you had to rely on your freshmen a lot because they were a big part of the team. Is it safe to say you don't rely on the freshmen as much this time, even though they're super talented, because of the experience and the depth and the talent you got with the older players?
Absolutely. I think depth always plays the part in that window of opportunity as a freshman. And I say that all the time to them when we recruit them and when they come here as freshmen. I mean, there is either a giant window, as there was in particular for Joyner last year, or there's this situation where you're going to get playing time, but you're not going to get thrown to the fire, so to say. And I think it's a good thing for a freshman. I mean, they obviously came here because they want to be a part of our program and they want to be a part of something really special, and they understood, and all freshmen that come here now understand that there's talent in front of them. But it lends them an opportunity to grow and learn under leadership, under good leadership, and I think it helps them become more experienced, better players in the long run.
Do you see them getting motivated by that, knowing that if you can't compete against these older players on your team, you might not get in the game?
Honestly, I'm not sure they know right now. I think freshmen have to go through these stages where they think they're where they should be, and they're not. I think they have to go through the stages of shock of what it's like to be a student athlete at the University of Texas. It entails a lot. So I think that they're still in that learning stage of knowing that they really do have a lot to learn and that it's not high school anymore. I think they have improved in the last few weeks in a sense of, okay, yeah, I've got to get a little more serious about what we're doing and pay attention to the older players, pay attention to the detail that the coaches are telling them. That's always a process for freshmen, and sometimes, like Rick said, you don't have a choice. You just have to throw some of them to the fire, and in the long run, most often, it hurts you if you have to depend every single day on a freshman. Now, if you can throw them in there and let them impact, that's what they want to do. I mean, that's what they're going to do at times. But I think if you have to depend on every possession, a freshman, there's going to be some bad moments.
When you have all this depth and you have talented freshmen coming in, can it be tricky balancing it that maybe an older player that loses playing time to a freshman doesn't get frustrated, or there's only so many minutes to go around, I guess is my point. Is it hard to manage that?
Well, I don't know yet, because it's for some reason it's managed to work itself out through some injuries, and last year could have been maybe a little trickier, but it ended up that we didn't have enough depth. It ended up that a Joyner Holmes was probably playing some minutes that maybe she shouldn't have, because we had some players coming off of injuries or they were injured. And so we ended up having a little bit of a depth problem in the paint last year, where if everybody stays healthy this year, then it will be a bit of a juggling act. But I will say that I think so much of that is conversation with your leaders about what are you trying to do here. Are you trying to win a championship? Are you trying to be a part of something special? Or are you just trying to play? And I don't think any of these players would have come here had they not bought into the fact that we're trying to win a championship. I think the other piece to that is I think you have to have a great staff, because your staff has to manage some of that and help them when they have their immature young days or they don't understand a move that we're making. You have to have a really loyal, experienced staff that can give them the mature answers that they're looking for and give them the guidance that they're looking for. And I think that's one of the best things that we have going for us, is I think when they ask somebody a question, they're getting a very mature, very team-oriented answer from their coaching staff.
If they deserve to play, can you tailor roles to them? Where
Are you speaking of the freshmen?
Yeah, they're freshmen, and maybe they can't get a ton of playing time, but there's something they're good at that you can put them in the game to do for a period.
Absolutely. And I would say that if you look at them right now today, they can all put the ball in the basket. It's as simple as that. They just can. I mean, all three freshmen can put the ball in the hole. Now, do they know what's going on the other end right now? I'm not sure. But to answer your question, I mean, last year we got a little bogged down with just putting the ball in the hole, whether it be from the perimeter, shooting in particular. And I do think that anytime that you can put the ball in the basket, you're going to have an opportunity to play.
You talk about this team being mature. How much does that help when you got all the hype surrounding this team and the ranking, number 2 ranking and all that stuff? How much does being mature help with this?
I think it helps a lot. Ariel, Brooke, Audrey, I mean, we were all disappointed with what the finish was last year. But they speak on it when we're not around, and we're not around all summer. I mean, we're not in the locker room with them ever. We don't see them but a couple hours a week in the summertime. So those conversations have to be had among the team members. I mean, they have to be had among the leaders, and I don't think our older players have any care at all at what we're ranked. I think they could care less.
Coach, this is National Signing Day, and from what I understand, both you and Baylor are going to be in the top 3 among signing classes. Do you think that Texas-Baylor is the best rivalry in women's basketball?
Yes.
Because?
90 miles down the road. Have to go through Waco every time I go to Dallas. Fun playing styles, same league. Talent. Sometimes, not always, and in both of our cases, definitely not all kids from Texas. But there are a lot of players that have played against each other for a lot of years, and they enjoy going toe-to-toe.
One of the players you're signing today is a local girl, Sedona. When she does get here, what role
First of all, it's a really, really good day for us. I call this little group the Fab Four, and they're pretty fabulous, I have to say. And with Sedona being local, no question that she's the headliner of the class. But man, I could go on for days about all four of them and the impact that they're going to have on our program. Sedona in particular, I mean, I think everybody knows that I had a love-hate fest with Imani. She and I talk about that a lot. I remember early with Imani, it was maybe the first year or second year that I was coaching her. Coach Conrad, we were talking one day, and I'm like, she's driving me crazy. And Imani knows this, so she knows that we drove each other crazy. And Coach said, well, I figure you're the one that needs to figure it out since she's 6'7". So in saying that, I think I have a little bit better understanding of Sedona and what her expectation will be when she first comes here, and what I expect of her, but also what she's capable of. And I mean, she's really skilled. I think that there's, the best is yet to come for her, because she won't get tripled, in college like she is right now in high school. But she's just so skilled. I mean, she can shoot, she can pass, she can handle the ball. But that one thing that 6'7" can do that Brooke sure can't do, or anybody else that I've seen in a while, is that they patrol the paint. And it's nice to have somebody that, I can promise you could ask our guards, and all of them would say that they would miss having a shot blocker, because we don't necessarily have one right now. It's nice to have that eraser in the paint, and I think of all the things that, as good as I think she is skill-wise, there's always that learning curve, but I do think that she will have a defensive impact immediately just because of her length. She's extremely intelligent. There'll always be that learning curve for a freshman as far as the physicality of the game, but she's also had some experience with USA basketball and the EYBL circuit, so I think she'll be ready. She definitely will give us a different element, but just to piggyback on the signing class in particular, Charlie Collier is another signee, 6'5", that along with Sedona, no question is, that's a pretty dynamic duo in the paint. They're the two best post players in my eyes in the country in this class, and for them to make the decision to come to Texas and do this together, and I think that I can't tell y'all how excited I am. That's a bright future in the paint for those two guys. And then the guards, Joanne Taylor and Joanne Allen Taylor and Audrey Warren, those guys, they can score, they can defend, they're hard-nosed, quick, smart. This is about as high IQ of a class as we've ever signed, and I'm super excited about the fact that they bring to the table who I think we're trying to be as a program. They have high character. They do well in the classroom. So I can't say enough about the job that my coaches did in recruiting these guys, the job our players did in making them feel welcome, and then those four trusting Texas and their families trusting Texas with their daughters.
So
when there's obviously a lot of steps that have gone into building this program, but along the lines of being able to recruit at this level, can you kind of take us through a little bit about maybe what it was like in the beginning, and then how you're now able to walk in basically anybody's door and sell Texas and get the top players in the country?
It was a lot of work. It is a lot of work. I say this all the time when young coaches call me or I go to clinics or something, and they always ask me, well, what's the secret? And I'm like, it's work. That's the secret. And recruiting is a lot of hard work, but I thought that we got somewhat lucky in a sense of, I mean, I don't think we have any kind of magic potion. I think we were very lucky that we had 4 players that were freshmen when we arrived here that were pretty committed to being good. And I think I was talking to you guys a few minutes ago at the little lunch table over here, and I mean, it's tough being a new coach. It's tough. I don't care who you are. I don't care how fun you are. I don't care I don't care what your name is. It is tough being a new coach. And we were lucky enough that those 4 kids were very committed to being good basketball players. Because, I mean, and then, you know, I could include Brady in that just from the standpoint that she hung around and was committed to us to seeing this thing through. And so I think we were very fortunate that we had some good players that we could groom and people could see their progress and people could see what we were trying to build, and then they helped us spread the message. Again, the love-hate relationship with Imani, I can talk about it all I want, but Imani loves Texas. And Imani appreciates what Texas did for her life and for her career, and so does Empress, and so does Selena. So does Brady. I mean, you could go down the line with those guys, and then I think we were really fortunate to get 2 of the best Texas kids in Bree and Kelsey, who, I mean, they laid the groundwork for us to be a good basketball program, and then you saw the upper echelon of talent in Brooke and Ariel make a decision that they would come here when they could have gone anywhere. And I think the turning point was Brooke, Ariel, LaShawn, enormously talented players that could have handpicked wherever they wanted to go to school, and they chose Texas. And they've been very committed to us being better. So along the way, now you start to get players that other people want to play with. And I think that Brooke and Ariel's group that was like the one class that really spurred a lot of young kids to go. I mean, you could ask Joyner Holmes, and I can promise you that class last year, Jada, Joyner, Shug, the impact of them coming here was simple. It was the players that were before them. They wanted to play with Ariel. They wanted to play with Brooke. I mean, that's kind of how it happens, I think. Good players want to play with good players, and in particular, they're good people, and they knew that.
Talked about the next class being the Fab Four. What are the freshmen this year? What would you call that class that you just talked about with Brooke and all those girls?
Say that one more time.
You call the next class the Fab Four. What are the freshmen here? What do you call them? Do they have a name?
I don't know that I've given any of them a name. I mean, you know, you could probably, I mean, again, I hate to leave Audrey out. I mean, she transferred here, and she is a senior, and I really, really appreciate what Audrey brings to the table every day, because she shows you what it's like to put your shoes and lace them up and work your ass off. Excuse me, but that's how she works. And she is an example every day, but I mean, you know, Brooke and Ariel, the dynamic duo. I mean, I would put them against any backcourt in the country. I would. So these 3 freshmen this year, I'm going to call them a headache today. No, those guys are the gunners. You can call them the gunners because those 3 can shoot it.
Couple more questions if you have them.
Coach, what's been one area that you've really wanted the team to focus on this offseason, and then who's somebody that you've really been impressed with your progress in that regard?
Great question. I was waiting on somebody to ask me that so I could talk about one youngster, but we definitely need to. We're going to have to rebound better than what I've seen, maybe better than what y'all saw on Sunday. And it's collective. I mean, I think for a while we were pretty dependent on a couple of players to get a lot of rebounds for us. Imani, Kelsey, you know, Joyner. I mean, before them it was NECA that, I mean, she was going to knock everybody out of the way to get a rebound. So I got really accustomed to 1 or 2 people really garnering that responsibility, but I don't think this team is made like that, and I think they need to figure it out. and I don't think they have yet. And I hate it that we're probably going to get some lessons pretty quick on what that entails, but I'm not sure that this team is committed like they need to be to team rebounding. And that means 1 through 5. I mean, we're just not there yet. So I think we've got a lot of work in that area. If I could, I mean, there's several that I could single out. I mean, we worked really, really hard just shooting the ball better this year. And I think that a lot of the coaches came up with some games this summer, some shooting games. I think a lot of them have improved. But if I had to single out one individual right now that when I walk out on the practice court, I'm going to have to say 2 individuals. I can't just say one. But when I walk out on the practice court every day, and, you know, the best thing you can say about a player to me as a coach is when I walk out there, I know exactly what I'm going to get from them. That's the highest compliment I think you can give a player, is I know what I'm getting from you every single day. It's the highest compliment I can give a coach. You know, what do I get from you every day? And LaShawn Higgs, I didn't know some days. I mean, there were some days that I just, you know, for whatever reason, I didn't know what her mentality was going to be like that day. And I didn't know whether she was going to fold on me or, you know, wander around. And she's becoming that one, you know, that when you walk out there every day, it's like, okay, here she is today. She's good today. And then the next day I walk out there and LaShawn's good today. And it's been a long time since I've walked away from the practice court going, I don't know what's wrong with her today. And she's grown up right before our eyes. She's fun to watch right now because she's gotten so much better between the ears, you know. I mean, she's definitely shooting the ball better, and I think that she's put a lot of time in, but between the ears, she's in a completely different place, and she's going to have, I think she's going to have a special year for us. The other player I would say is Mide for the same reason. The only difference in the two is that Mide hasn't had that opportunity to get the amount of minutes that LaShawn has had. So all of you guys may not see the difference, so to say, as quick as you'll see it in LaShawn. But those two have really, they've matured, and it's been fun to watch them grow up.
Last question, anybody?
I guess just big picture, we talk about the great recruiting classes and the preseason ranking. I mean, how much desire is there within the program to truly break through, you know, be it a Final Four? Or have you set an actual goal for the season with the team?
I think if you keep up with us, there's, you know, we all have the hashtags and the mantras and all of that, and ours this year is family, family over everything. And I think that maybe with some recognition that, you know, families usually don't let each other down. They hold each other accountable. They're there for each other, and that's part of being on a team, I think, and having a true team goal. That's sort of the background and the feeling that you get when you're on a championship team. I mean, that is the feeling that if you've ever been on one, that's how you felt about that team, and that feeling doesn't ever go away. So I think that they wanted to concentrate on how can we hold each other accountable about being our best every day. And if you're your best every single day and you get in the habit of being your best, then I think we already think we have enough there to make a run. So we've gotten a little bit away, and I think it was their choice, and they saw that maybe that was some of the pitfalls last year, was getting too wrapped up in the streak, getting too wrapped up in what seed we were going to be, and we forgot to finish the job, so to say. So I think they understand we have the talent and the want to, and, you know, how can we just be our best? And that's a learning process for a team.
When are you planning to DJ?
Say that again?
When are you planning to DJ again?
I don't know. I did like it. It was kind of fun. Did you listen? What was your favorite song?
I don't remember the song.
Oh, come on.
I skirted through
You're
the
supposed to
song.
say Adele.
Well, I know who your favorite artist is.
Okay, okay.
That was a different discussion. I know that.
Right.
All right, thank you, guys.
Thanks, y'all.